Hey, what's up everybody? Monday. Big news, big news day. February 21st. Let me just start off by saying I sent out the new issue of MMT Trader. If you want to get a copy of that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial. So, today's big, folks. You probably heard the news by now. Putin has officially recognized the Donetsk region, that's the DPR in eastern Ukraine, as an independent state. What does this mean? It means that Russia at least sees that region as independent from Ukraine. I was kind of surprised by this. Because frankly, I thought he would just pretty much abandon the region, because we've seen fighting escalate now for a number of weeks. There's been shelling into Donetsk. There's been shelling that has landed over into the Russian side of the border. And, you know, we've been hearing about the imminent invasion that was going to happen at any time for weeks now from the White House and the Western media, and that has never happened. And I just thought, like, you know, if he was going to invade by now, he would invade. You don't give your enemy time to build up its defenses, which is exactly what has been happening over the last, months actually, because heavy arms being supplied by the United States and NATO. I mean, it just didn't make military sense to me, but I'm not a military strategist. Anyway, today, I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you, when he went forward with that. And it was kind of funny if you read some of the tweets covering that. I was reading on Twitter. And if you saw the scene there, he was in the Kremlin, Putin, sitting at his desk in this massive, very beautiful, ornate room. But it was a massive room, and he's sitting at his desk. And then, like, far away, like 30, 40 feet away, there was this array of Russian officials, like military and people in the government. And he was having them come up one by one, and he was asking them, are you for declaring these regions independent? And then one guy said, well, yes, I am for declaring them as part of Russia. And he said, that's not the question. I'm asking, should we declare them independent? And so I guess every one of these folks in that room with him had to come up and state their opinion. And then, according to reports, and this was being televised, then he said, I'll have my decision within a few hours. And then the whole scene went black. And somebody tweeted it was like the ending of The Sopranos. It was really incredible. So then he came out and he said, I am going to recommend, to the Duma, the government body, that we are going to declare these regions independent. Folks, let me just say something. I am not a geopolitical analyst. I'm an economist, and I try to keep these videos and also my report really focused on economics, and within that, focus on economics through the lens of MMT. But I'm trying to do my best here to provide some insight on this situation and as it pertains to the markets. So right now, after his speech about his backing of that region as an independent region, he said he was going to be sending in the military as a peacekeeping force, which also surprised me, to be honest with you, because I thought once he declared it independent, again, that's, then it's up to Donbass to protect their own independence. But then he said he's going to send in the Russian military orders. I read this off of RT.com, and it's really important, folks, that you don't rely solely on, U.S. news media or the Western media. I was watching CNN for a little while, which I hardly ever watch, but I just tuned into it in the afternoon. And I'm telling you, if you watch these networks, CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, I mean, you'll end up with such a one-sided view of this situation that your mind is going to be warped. It's going to be totally warped. you need to try to find, not that RT is unbiased, okay, but I mean, you need to have more of a broad range of news sources to get a more balanced perspective. Otherwise, your brain gets fried by these U.S. news outlets. Anyway, so off of RT, it said he's going to send in the military as a peacekeeping force. Okay, right now, I mean, the way I read it, that's not an invasion. That's not sending in the military to take Kiev. And I'm all for peacekeepers. I'm all for peacekeepers. I mean, it's been terrible what's going on there. I'm an anti-war person, and I just, every day to see the images and the stories coming out of there and the videos, I mean, it was just like really upsetting. So hopefully they go in there as a peacekeeping force, and that is what the result is, a cessation of the violence. But now let's talk about the market. So futures were down today. We're going to probably see a pretty nasty opening tonight and tomorrow. This is going to be, of course, blown up into a story of a Russian invasion. All the people who had been predicting an invasion, they're going to say, well, we told you so. He's invading. But again, I see this as a peacekeeping force. If it leads to a diminution or a cessation in the violence, I don't see that as a bad thing. Now, when we're talking about economics, solely about economics, I mean, if we could take this out of the picture, and again, it's pretty much impossible to take it out of the picture because there's going to be, I anticipate there's going to be a highly emotional reaction to this. We're going to see some heavy selling. But again, if we look only at the economics, and that, to me, you have to try to take out this extraneous stuff going on, and you have to stay focused on the economics, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to dictate what's going to happen with the financial markets. And again, today's report, I went over fiscal flows, 540 billion so far projected for this month in February, and that's with, by the way, the IRS is having, I read some problems in processing tax returns, and that means refunds for people. So some of those refunds have been delayed. So the month may end up slightly below what my original projections were because of the delay in those refunds, but they're going to come. Those refunds are going to come, and that is another big flow into the economy. So, and even in spite of the problems the IRS is having, 540 billion for the month of February, that is a decent month. All right? Bank data. Loans. Now, I think I mentioned this on my Saturday video. Loans rose had the biggest increase in 2 months and are now expanding at the fastest rate in 15 months. Within the loan category, real estate loans growing at the fastest pace in 18 months. Credit card and revolving credit loans growing at the fastest pace in 45 months. So since we've had this reduction in the fiscal flows, right? That happened at the end of December. December was the last month that we saw the child tax credit payments go out, and then January we had a kind of a slow month. Remember, we also had a surplus in January. We had a 490 billion flow for the month. But bank credit is now supplanting to some extent the loss in that fiscal flow. Now again, bank credit can't go on forever. I mean, that's not free money in your pocket. I mean, a bank loan, yeah, is a deposit in your checking account that you can draw from. But at the same time, you have a debt, you have a liability, you have to pay it off, and you have to pay it off with interest. But the good news, as I pointed out in some prior videos is that household debt service burdens, in other words, how tough is it to make that monthly payment, that's still at very, very low levels. I mean, we're nowhere near the level we saw in 2007 before the great financial crash, when it was up around 13.6%. That was a record level of debt burden. Right now, because interest rates are still low, that debt service burden is historically very low. So it could, it could go up, and it's going to go up as the Fed raises interest rates. But right now, credit is what is sustaining or keeping consumption high. I've been talking about the inventories that built up in the fourth quarter, and I think firms are going to be able to sell those inventories at high prices, which means record profits. And we're already seeing that, many firms reporting, unprecedented pricing power, and that's going to translate into record profits. And again, market sentiment and psychology is extremely, extremely negative right now. Now, you never want to discount, turmoil or potentially war between the two biggest nuclear superpowers on the planet. I mean, no one wants to do that. But I'm trying to put that kind of in isolation right now. I don't think a peacekeeping force, to me, that's not the equivalent of an invasion of a country. I think to be able to end the violence in that region, that's not a bad thing. We're definitely going to see sanctions. As a matter of fact, Biden just came out and said something that Americans will not be able to do any business with the Donbass. I don't know what kind of business they're doing there now, but I mean, that's going away. And more stuff is coming. I think the UK tomorrow is going to come out with a new set of sanctions. The United States supposedly has its sanctions from hell, and I'm sure that's going to be applied now. But Russia has had plenty of time to prepare for those sanctions. One thing we can probably expect to see is higher oil prices. As a matter of fact, when I looked at the CFTC's Commitment of Traders report, the most recent one, oil producers have the biggest net long position in oil futures that I have ever seen. It might be a record long position of oil producers. That's a rarity. I mean, that's like seeing a UFO. But that's the case right now. So they're looking for higher prices. And undoubtedly, I think we can expect that when the sanctions get applied, you're going to have potentially less Russian oil flow into the global market. They may shut off, who knows? I don't know. To me, that seems like a no-brainer, but we'll see. So that's the update for today, folks. I think it's good news. A peacekeeping force, a non-invasion. That's me saying that. Don't expect it to be spun that way in the mainstream media. Of course, it's not going to be spun that way, and many of you might disagree with me and see that as an invasion. But it is what it is. That's my take. The underlying economics right now for USA's economy does not look that bad to me at all. So take it for what it's worth. Anyway, that's the update for today. Don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.